Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I remember.
and here's some Tuesday morning Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Pointing Out That My Brother Lives a Very Privileged Life? I'm a 45-year-old male, and my older brother, a 51-year-old male, lives with me. He's never really been good at life. He's had a few jobs here and there, but mostly stuff just like Walmart, McDonald's, and he's delivered pizzas for about a month. He's never held down a job for more than 60 days. He dropped out of high school and never bothered to get a GED, let alone any college/trade school. He mostly just sits in his room drinking my booze, smoking my stuff, and eating my food while he plays whatever JRPG that he's currently obsessed with. I don't mind this. I truly don't. I did well in life, and my wife invested our money very well. So we're comfortable. I have more than enough resources to support him fully for the rest of our lives, and I intend on doing so. He's not taking food out of my kid's mouth. He's not cutting into their college funds. It's literally extra money that I would just be squirreling away if I didn't spend it on him. Well, last night at dinner, my wife told me that her brother lost his job. He worked at a company that recently had massive layoffs, so it was due to no fault of his own, and asked me if we could float him some cash for bills and stuff while he finds a new job. I told her to have him send me an estimate of how much he needs to cover for 6 months, and that was that. Or so I thought. My brother proceeded to head over to Facebook and rant about how people need to be more self reliant and not ask for handouts that they didn't earn. He didn't mention my brother in law by name, but it was pretty clear that that's what triggered him. I commented on his post and I asked him how living off of me for the past 9 years was self reliant. I told him that he's in an incredibly privileged position because not everyone has a millionaire brother to pay all of their bills for them. I also asked how the allowance that I give him every week is not a handout. Anyways, a bunch of his friends from the video game started clowning on him in the comments. Apparently, he tells people online that he's an investment banker. He deleted the post and has not come out of his room since. There's an ensuite bathroom, so don't worry. My wife says that it was messed up for me to call him out publicly like that, and that I could have been more respectful about it. And my aunt is furious with me for airing the family laundry. So I kind of think that I might be the jerk here, not for what I said, but for the fact that I said it publicly. But at the same time, I don't feel like the jerk because his rant was public too. All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. If he didn't want to be called out in public, he shouldn't say ridiculous things in public.
Well, yeah, I mean, those who throw rocks in glass houses, right? Certainly he's in the wrong, his brother's in the wrong for having this rant and going online about it, but he also didn't call out anyone specifically. So, where I think the difference is that OP actually went on his Facebook and, made a public comment and it was directly targeting him. But you shouldn't be a hypocrite, right? I mean,
Right, well, and even if he didn't call out brother in law by name, anyone who knows the situation would be all but two and two together. So, any mutual people
hmm
who know both. And so that's, I think, a problem. Like, it wasn't
yeah.
a just in generic, even though he wrote it generically, it was very clearly in response to this.
Yeah,
And
vague
again,
posting, vague
mm hmm,
booking, isn't that what they call it now?
something
Vague
like
booking.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think that it's a little bit of a messy situation. I think it's one of those things where it's always best to handle these situations privately if you can, but again, like if you make public posts, you have to expect that people are going to answer them publicly. He was not seeing the full picture here or the hypocrisy of his words.
Yeah,
So,
well, he's been benefiting from this. He's been from OP's lifestyle, and like, I don't know. I just find it really, really gross what he's doing. To
yeah.
be rude to other people who had the misfortune of losing their jobs when he's just living the high life on OP's dime.
So, anyhow, take care and good luck. And straight section 6109 says, Not the jerk, a prime example of mess around and find out. I'd kicked him out to prove a point, honestly. And OP actually replies, No way I could ever do it over this. It'd be one thing if he were dangerous, like I toss him out in a heartbeat if it felt like it weren't a safe place here with him. But being a bit of a jerk isn't enough for me to make him homeless. And that's what I'd essentially be condemning him to. There's nowhere else to go. He has no skills that can make him enough money to survive. And I mean, it just sounds like OP has a heart of gold in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Upset That My Food Was Stolen? I work at a hospital and more recently have started to bring my own food to keep in the fridge in our locked area. But after a few days, it started going missing. Now, it wasn't anything fancy except the one day I made some Asian stir fry from scratch. That stuff was really good, but it kept going missing. After about a week of this happening, I finally decided enough was enough and went straight to my supervisor and told him that someone was stealing my food. Imagine my shock when he got a big smile and pulled out a wad of cash. He told me that he was the one who was taking it, in part because he knew how I was and loved listening to Reddit stories, so he was curious how I would retaliate. After handing me the cash, he said every time he took my food, he put aside $20 to give to me later as an apology. So I ended up with $140. I told him that if it wasn't resolved after talking to him, then I would have spiked it with hot sauce, and my brother got this recently, and it was supposed to be almost pure capsaicin. His only response was that was about what he expected. So Reddit, I'm conflicted. I want to be upset that I lost my meals for a week, but in the end, I got paid for it. I don't know if I should be upset or not. Would I be the jerk for being upset? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the
What
jerk.
an odd, peculiar story. I don't buy it in the least.
I don't not buy
Yeah.
it.
So why is that?
I mean, I could see people who there are people who just like messing with people and like I'm gonna steal your lunch to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there certainly are people like this, but I mean, why put your job at risk? Like, if you're the supervisor, like you could get into trouble for this, even if the supervisor, was paying him back later. It's still theft. It's like you can't go into the store, steal a bunch of stuff, and then be like, oh hey, I know I stole all this stuff, but here's the money for it later, right? They're still like, oh yeah, by the way, thanks for turning yourself in, but we're going to call the police on
Yeah,
you
but
now.
I mean, people aren't necessarily going to be thinking of food theft in the same way. Like, you can't get jail time, I don't think, for stealing your coworker's lunch.
I don't know. I mean, you probably can't, right? Because there's like HR paperwork and stuff like that, where they have like probably some bylaws and blah blah blah. But I still think like you could probably get yourself into a lot of trouble by stealing someone's lunch intentionally.
Potentially, like, it depends on the workplace. Like, we've read plenty of stories where there's literally no consequences, and then the person who spikes the food is the one who gets in trouble.
I mean, that's not untrue. I just feel like I don't know. I'm just incredulous.
I'm like, of all the ones that could be fake, I don't think this is the one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it just feels like they're setting the stage up to be like, oh look, this stuff happens on Reddit. Here's how I would handle it if this happened to me in real life. That's how I read this. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being cynical. Let me know what you folks think. Cynical Brian or uncynical Amber.
I always give the stories the benefit of the doubt, almost always.
I almost always too, but I don't know. This one just felt.
You're far less forgiving than I am.
So let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some coffee here. I had the tea last night, so you already guessed it. So I mean, guess again, I guess.
What is brown, hairy, and wears sunglasses? Coconut on
A
vacation.
coconut on vacation.
It's.
Brown, hairy, and wear sunglasses.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll buy that coconut. I'll eat it. Her almost spit out her water there. Coconut goes on vacation, comes back a shell. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like, and if you didn't, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.